What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bogey Proof. We got myself, Matt, and Mike on the line tonight. Mikey, where are you calling from, and what are we sipping on tonight?
Yeah, calling from Denver, Colorado. Here, this been out here for a couple months now. First sip of whiskey, or excuse me, second glass of whiskey I've had in 2 months out
Wow.
here in Colorado, and I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that to impress the people out there or act like I'm better than everyone out there. I just haven't really felt I haven't had the thirst for a bourbon or for rye or anything, but it was a little brisk out there today. Um, a lot of our stuff made it here to Denver in the last week or so, which included a full box of booze from Elizabeth's apartment.
Beautiful.
So, so this is just I'll call it the house, right? A little bullet. Um, Also got a nice bottle of Elijah Craig small batch from Jaybird that I'm excited to pop, but I think I might leave that till December because it's dark as shit at like 4:30 here, and when it gets cold, things might get a little dark. So
Yeah, it's officially bourbon season. It's been a little warm up here in Connecticut, but it's that time of year where, like you said, it's dark so early. You don't ever see the sun. Little bourbon, little nightcaps here and there start becoming a little bit more frequent as the days get colder and a little bit darker. But tonight I got a little tequila soda going. It was a little taco night tonight in the house, so kind of stayed on theme with that. A little tequila soda. I got way too much tequila in the house. I mean, I guess you can never have too much, but it's like I have more tequila than anything else in my house right now, so I'm trying to level things out before we
yeah,
get into
that's
the winter.
that's a tough place to be. But I will say again, kind of on this kind of kick to bourbon and kind of winter season, I had probably the perfect situation when I think of like a perfect night out of like dinner and drinks for like kind of moving into winter, dinner with no booze, and then went out afterwards for a couple hot cocktails, right? Some
Ooh,
hottie toddies.
there you go.
Um, I had like a bourbon and tea, like hot tea situation, couple of those to end the night. Like, really enjoy your food. Don't go too crazy on the bill, and then just send your night off into a little overdrive with a warm cocktail, maybe out on a brisk patio. Just lots of different elements there.
Yeah, I was gonna say you get a nice warm cocktail, it almost tucks you right into bed itself. It's just the perfect
Exactly.
fall, winter. It's right on plan. It sounds like a very
Yeah.
peaceful evening right there.
Yeah. The bourbon blanket is a real
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, especially when you mix it with a hot tea. Yeah, that'll put you right to sleep. But it's been a while since we've been on here. We got a lot of things to catch up. I figure it's about as off season as the golf season gets right now on the
For
PGA
sure.
Tour. So we'll save some future looking golf stuff for the later part of the show here. But first and foremost, I think we got to get into the year that was and Netflix picking quite the year to start
Mhm.
filming their version of like the F1 Drive to Survive, kind of a highlight spotlight on, I think, almost like 30 PGA Tour players when the list came out back in, last January.
Yep.
I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be like actually on Netflix, but it's all recorded now and they're probably just going through footage and all that fun stuff. So, what are your thoughts? What are you expecting? I mean, what are you looking forward to most to get out of a documentary type show like that of the PGA Tour? Being a pretty hardcore golf fan that we are, like, what are you
Yeah.
expecting to either learn or kind of get out of this whole Netflix documentary, kind of season one? And what are you expecting?
Yeah. Um, I don't have any tremendous expectations, I would say. I think I'm super excited and uh just interested into like what kind of the final product looks like, right? Um, I think when you go inside the ropes, I'm a little interested to see like is it going to be leaning more on like the lead up, or is it going to be more so like the Thursday through Sunday kind of stuff that we're talking about? Because I think both are tremendously interesting and have their own kind of storylines, but interested is like how they go, right? Is it more of a Monday through Wednesday walking through kind of how they're prepping for a tournament, travel, families, kind of bringing in kind of the less golf focus of it and trying to humanize some of these guys and see kind of what they're like when they're not inside the ropes? Or is it going to be a situation of, hey, we're going to really get a little more of like what it's like to be a grinder Thursday through Sunday, and get some like knee-jerk reactions after rounds or whatever that looks like. So just kind of interested to kind of see what angle the producers come after. Both tremendously interesting storylines. So really kind of not a ton of expectations, but just interested as to what kind of the final product is. And, obviously they're going to do it one way, and then I'm probably going to be like, damn, well, I want to see the other way too.
Yeah.
So interested. I mean, great cast of first year PGA Tour players. Obviously, if of success, we're probably going to get some of the the superstars of the world involved as well. If it's not a success, I don't know. Maybe does it fade into the into the gray? So
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, being the golf fans that we are, and we know so much about that Thursday through Sunday part of it, I'm really most interested in hopefully getting an inside look into that, the Monday through Wednesday part and the logistics and just adding context to these guys. I mean, that's how you become fans of people, is getting to know them and a little bit like finding a reason to root for them besides like the score that they shoot on the course,
yeah.
So I'm looking to learn a few things about some guys that maybe don't have the biggest personalities or whatever, and can get a little bit more insight into like, what makes them tick, what they're playing for, what their family life's like, all those different things. Like, cause that all adds like pretty good context and can only kind of improve your golf viewing experience at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah.
Just because being a golf fan as much as we are, like, I'm going to be well aware that they hit a lot of range balls, like that's not going to be a surprise to me, like when they're out there grinding and practicing putting for 6 hours and, all that stuff, like it's super impressive and it's why they're professionals, but I'm not going to be like, whoa, look at that. But I think this is also not, it may not be built for guys like us, this series. I think its role or its purpose is to grab some different eyeballs and bring them to the game. So you kind of have to kind of toe that line and do a little bit of both and provide some context to the golf side as well, just to get people a little bit more tuned in, ultimately. But they couldn't have picked a better year. What do you think they do with, because I know DJ was one of the bigger names on their Netflix list, I believe, when this came out. So like, how do you think they treat the live guys that like were on their list, got kicked off? Because I think it's done independently, but obviously they had to work with the PGA Tour to get the rights to do this stuff. So I'm interested to see how that works with it, like for any live players that were on their list of like being featured, like besides the context, like you're always going to see the talk about of even Tiger's not like featured on here, but his role in like making the cut at Augusta, I'm sure will be featured if any of their guys were playing with him, like kind of thing like that. So how do you think they play with that? And like, what else are you looking for from what are your most memorable moments this year? And do you think like, what angle do they take in that documentary with stuff like that? Like whether it's Rory at St. Andrews, Cam Smith, Tiger storyline, the other majors, whatever it may be.
Yeah. I think that's a tough one to answer. I think not knowing the nuance of that relationship between the producers and the PGA Tour here, I would not be surprised if like DJ is almost like stricken from the content that is produced. Agreed, like probably there's some context in it and you'll see references to him and things like that, but it would not surprise me in the slightest if it was almost pushed aside from an individual basis. I think with that, when I say that though, like, is this a complete flop though if they like act like live doesn't exist?
That's kind of what I was getting at. Like, you can't ignore that. It dominated golf headlines for better or worse most of the year. If you make a documentary about the 2022 golf season and you don't have that, like, you missed, like.
Yeah. So I think that'll be interesting to see. I think just intrigued as to like how they kind of showcase some of these big events, and what do they do? Do they lean into kind of the history of Augusta and give us a player's perspective of what it is to play in the Masters and kind of be on that property, or to play an Open Championship at the old course. Like, do we follow along that player, like, whoever they had that week, like fighting for a championship, or just like missing a cut and enjoying kind of all the things that are, the old course and St. Andrews and the community and kind of all that. So I think the live question is probably the biggest one. And I think the producers and the people kind of putting this all together can probably do it in a strategic way, where the first couple episodes, it's not really a main theme. And maybe it becomes, halfway through kind of this little series that we realize, are they avoiding it, or does it maybe, for lack of a better word, just like, cause a shift in kind of the way they operate and the way it kind of looks. But yeah, I don't know. Interested, especially in the majors and kind of how they document that stuff, because we love it. We love like the product that it produces, but I don't think we understand kind of outside of like the glory that comes with winning a championship, like maybe the nuance and how, serious a player takes it as compared to a normal week. I think would be a lot of fun.
Or even like not even on the player side, but like, I don't know what they had for rights with like the RNA or the USGA or whatever, but like, I wouldn't hate a little logistics into like how the hell they build all this stuff up, like, how do you take a place like St. Andrews that's like a public park and turn it into a major championship venue? Like, how do you get those grandstands up? Like, how does that stuff work? Things like that I think would be provide another interesting little side piece. I mean, I'm not saying I need 3 episodes on that, but like, you give me a little 5-10 minute segment on, one of the bigger events of the year. I think that'd be pretty cool to learn about too. But either way, it's all good stuff, because like, it's providing the everyday person who has a Netflix account the opportunity to get somewhat emotionally invested in the PGA Tour, which is ultimately good. And you're going to be able to add context to these guys, get a little more personal flair for, some of your favorite golfers, and learn more about them. So no matter what, we're getting more access to them. And I think at the end of the day, it's a good thing. And in terms of more access to PGA Tour players, Tiger and Rory have kicked off. I think it's like the TGL live event sponsor kind of thing, but essentially it's going to be like a exhibition golf series, team golf in a simulator. I think they're doing it like Monday nights. It'll be on Golf Channel, I assume, or whoever they put the TV contract with. But going to be a pretty decent amount of people. I mean, the fundraising group for this is pretty special, but what are your initial thoughts on that? And what are you kind of expecting to see with anything Tiger gets behind? Usually going to go pretty well, at least when it comes to like views and ratings and things like that.
Yeah. I think my first question is, what's the reason for this? Why does this exist? I think is kind of my first question. Like, is this just such a, prolific economic like decision that like they have to do it because they're worth so much money and they're going to make a bunch of money off this, and like that's why they're doing it? Or is this a reaction to some of the other things that have happened in kind of the golf space? Probably a little bit of combination of both. Right, Rory, Tiger, kind of in the height of fandom and kind of presence and just like the world of athletics in general, and just with the investor group, like they're going to be able to drive eyeballs to this and get a solid contract. So yeah, I mean, interested to kind of see what it was. I don't think the product matters all that much right away. I think if we get some big time people, inside the game of golf and outside, on televisions on a Monday night, I think it'll be interesting. We haven't seen, I mean, we've had a couple matches from Tiger, but like the majority of Tiger's work outside of golf has been philanthropic, which I think maybe gets lost a little bit because everyone's like, oh, he's got a $200 million Nike deal or whatever it looks like, right? Like, I think this is probably the first time that we, outside of, like the Tiger Nike apparel, that he is going forward with like a Tiger Woods face of a business, which I think is going to be unique, and maybe we'll see a little bit more of him. which I think would be super exciting because, I mean, we know this, like Tiger's media appearances are like few and far between, which makes him so intriguing. But maybe we see him a little bit more. Like, do I expect him to like be in the booth every Monday night? No, but like if he's the face of it, he's gonna be there more times than not, probably.
Right.
So that'll be interesting too. And anytime you can get some superstars of golf and just sports and pop culture, like there's going to be people that are intrigued by it. If the product's great, it'll continue on for a period of time. But I think maybe not getting too far ahead, just excited about kind of maybe what that first kind of instance, that first year looks like with this kind of new thing.
Yeah, I mean, it could be incredibly awkward if they don't put the right personalities up there to go along with like Tiger and Rory hitting balls in a simulator and having a match. No, there's gonna be more guys too, but like they need to add more than just PGA Tour players just to keep like. I don't know if they have I mean, it's a pretty big fundraising group, but like you need a Charles Barkley-esque guy to fill the dead air, to add context, to talk shit with the guys, whatever. Like Phil was really good at this too in all the matches he did. Like Steph Curry's awesome at this kind of stuff. Like, insert guys of that nature. Like as long as you get them involved along with the PGA Tour guys, I think that it has a chance to at least be entertaining in some value. I mean, look at the Manning cast, right? Like you're watching football still, but like you get to see some cool people and get a little bit of their perspective and kind of shoot the shit a little bit. And it's something different. It's nice. And especially I like that they're doing it on like a Monday or Tuesday night and not kidding themselves, putting on like a Saturday afternoon like they do with all the matches and like thinking people are going to like stop what they're doing to watch it. But I also agree with your earlier point. Like pretty sure this is just a nice little vehicle for the PGA Tour to like be like, hey, I know you may think our purses aren't, big enough and you got to earn it and we don't give this guaranteed money, blah, blah, blah. Go play in 3 of these exhibitions and we'll write you a check for like a couple million each time you show up. So, like I think it's another way to kind of combat the live stuff and give these guys an opportunity to make some more money. But we'll see how that all plays out in the long run. I think either way, at the end of the day, both this and the Netflix show, they can't hurt golf. Like getting more access to these superstars because they've been able to get big names and even the little guys that like are kind of like field fillers, for lack of a better phrase, like they don't jump off the leaderboard. You're like, who's that guy for the average fan? Maybe there's someone like a Kevin Kisner who, if they get enough spotlight and whatever, like all of a sudden they're this buzzing personality that everybody loves to root for and gets kind of on their side. So I think the potential for both of those things to happen and just more access is a win for fans, golf, everybody involved. I mean, the players got to do a little bit more stuff now, but they're going to be paid pretty handsomely for it, I'm sure. So I think it's a win for everybody around. So, but that being said, you kind of referenced seeing Tiger play some golf. We do have a actual December schedule of golf for Tiger Woods in the year 2022, which we're just going to start off. We're thankful for that because
thankful that I mean, when you go around your Thanksgiving table,
what are you thankful for?
That if no one asks you, just pipe up, just let them know what you're thankful for, because just to bless our TV screen, and we're gonna see him. I think the most exciting part about it all is like we're gonna see him in like multiple capacities.
Yeah.
Over the course of this, right? Like we're gonna see him at the Hero where he's gonna play. He's he runs the tournament. Like, so we're not only going to see him on the course, we're going to see him in the booth afterwards. We're going to see him, we're already seeing him kind of at a couple, right? Fleetwood and Kisner are going to play this year. So kind of a little banter back and forth, getting them going. PNC, Charlie Woods looks like a man child since last year. HGH or something going on. But swinging it with some speed. So we'll see him there. Is he going to be outside of those two? What else has he got going?
He's in the next match too with
Rory
against JT and Spieth, which this is Spieth's debut in one of these, I believe. Which looking forward. Jordan seems like a pretty relatable guy, so it'll be interesting to see him out there. I'm almost nervous to watch a guy like Jordan Spieth talk through his process out there without Greller there to be like, yo, just hit the fucking ball. Like maybe JT will fill that role, but I'm interested to see JT or Jordan's like pre-shot routine and all this stuff and like in this type of environment where I'm interested to see Jordan like it because I feel like he doesn't have like the fuck around gear anymore. I feel like he's like the last
No,
few years have been humbling for him, and he doesn't have like the spring break 2K15 mindset very often anymore. So
no.
be interested to see how that plays out. But the match having four golfers, I think, helps it because the last couple, I'll say, like depending on who you get as that celebrity guy makes a huge difference. Like Patrick Mahomes is an absolute superstar on the football field, but like not really bringing much to the match for golf. Like I'm sure people looked at, like it grabbed names, but for the actual product, like I was like, ugh, like I don't know, or like a guy like Aaron Rodgers, same deal. Like Tom Brady, fine, but like Steph Curry worked in that because he's and like Charles Barkley obviously works whatever he does. He's fucking entertaining as hell, but like they have a little bit of golf context to them where you're like Steph Curry
Yes.
play. Charles Barkley obviously had the whole Hank Haney show and all that shit. So like there's context with him about when
Yeah.
it comes to golf. There's always something there. So I like that it's actually golfers, and I think that like for it may not get the names or like the attention on like the commercials or whatever, but I think once you actually tune into it, it's the product will be a lot better because of it. But
The product is going to be really, I think the product will be really good, all said and done. Um, the only thing that worries me about those events are like when they don't take it, because they don't really take it very seriously.
yeah,
Sometimes they do hit like kind of shitty shots, and it's just like, well, you got to live with the fact that like they wouldn't hit that in a tournament. It just happens. They don't have a caddy. My one gripe with this, and this is a very specific thing, can we figure out something better than like having every single person just wear one AirPod to like listen to
yeah,
themselves on these things?
yeah. There's got to be something better there because every time one of the guys loses, it falls out, right? Like one of the guys just loses all ability to hear, so he's just like, yeah, no, can't hear you, but having fun out here, like it's like,
It's just like it's just can we get a better sponsor in there? Can we figure something out?
yeah,
Um, I don't know. Have one person follow you around with a microphone, and like when you actually need to say something, pop in.
yeah, and like
Um,
you can take the camera out of the cart and put that some like we don't need to watch Tiger Woods drive a golf cart. We don't need to watch Tiger Woods drive anything at all. Clearly, like we don't need to see these guys driving their golf carts around. Like save that money and put it, like you said, towards somebody to follow you around. Be like, you know, set the boom set mic up when they're on the tee box,
yeah,
shooting the shit with each other. After they all hit their approach shots to the green, set up your box there so like you're not in the way of stuff, but you can get the whole banter on the green too. Because other than that, there's not a whole lot of talking going on, anyways. Like so.
no,
I don't know.
no, and then get some like ridiculous person to interview them as they're walking from their shots to the green,
Right.
right? Like I'm just envisioning, right, like some comedian or some other like personality with like in the European tour, like during COVID when they
Yeah.
would hold the microphones out from like 6 feet away.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine like Kevin Hart with like one of those microphones, like in
Mhm.
like JT's face?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
like just something like that. So we got to figure out something a little bit better than that. So we'll see. Maybe Apple's giving them $10 million and they can't
Could very well
do
be.
anything about it. So, but yeah, I mean, excited to see Tiger's face. Excited to see Charlie Woods hit the ball. Excited for the match. Um, not too much in the world of like actual professional golf,
Yeah.
and playing in Houston this week. Then they go to uh, they're down at RSM at Sea Island. Like,
Yeah.
if you're looking for something to do and you need to take a nap on a Saturday afternoon, throw them in golf and just, I mean, great players, obviously, just a little bit of time for everybody to, rest up and get ready for the following year.
You got to recharge the batteries.
Yeah, right. And that kind of comes kind of my final question, before we bounce here, Matt, is like, how are you recharging the batteries, right? Like, I don't think either of us had really like long golf seasons by any means. We're not out there grinding all that much, but how are you recharging the batteries here on the golf game after joining a course, playing probably a little bit more and a little more consistently there, like kind of. I mean, that takes some time, like, right, when you kind of have your group of guys and you're playing a little bit more, like, what are you doing to recharge here, before the end of the year? so that, when March comes around and you're ready to travel and get down south, and then, April, that you're ready to go and you're not just like a little bit sluggish at coming out of the gates.
Yeah, I mean, I think now is the time to, if ever, in the golf thing is like just check out. Like you don't need to. It's not that serious anymore. Like you're not getting ready for anything. Like if you're gonna play, if you get those, those November, December days where, it's 50 degrees and all of a sudden you're kind of going to play, like just kind of take like make it. You gotta like let yourself just like not give a shit at this time of year and just like make it okay, bonus. Like it's all bonus land, right? Like, and just enjoy it that way because, like I said, joining the course, playing in a couple more tournaments than normal, even, even if they're with partners, whatever, but like just playing more competitive golf and playing a little bit more frequently, consistently, whatever. It was a lot. I mean, it played relatively well this year, but it's the biggest thing is like this middle stage from November till that trip down south in March. It's like if you play any golf, it's a bonus. So kind of have that mindset and don't really care what you shoot. Like you go out there and you're trying to hit good shots and whatnot, but like you got to be able to laugh it off. Like you can only get worse if you take it too serious this time of year, I think. So it's the time to kind of uncheck, let the mind reset, like recharge the batteries, right? Like that all that grinding and tournament play, like it takes energy. So kind of reset, take care of the body this off season, the usual yoga, try to get stuff back going, stay in shape with the winter, when you're not outside, like, walking 18 holes or whatever, like that stuff adds up. So just kind of maintenance on the body, keep everything ready and flexible for March so you don't come out and hurt yourself, and check out with the mind. Just if you find yourself on a golf course, it's a bonus, and just enjoy it for what it is. It's really all I do in the off season is just, you can't take it more serious than that. We're not more serious golfers than that right there. So,
And to be perfectly honest, like, I, for as much as I love golf, I don't have a problem checking out for a few months here because there is college basketball on almost every single day. There's football, Maction, Central Michigan. Then someone was playing last night. I don't know.
Miami,
It was
Ohio.
it was, it was on the restaurant. Right. So like you got I mean, good year of NFL football. I think we got a couple, you know, all over the place, but some really good teams probably that are going to be there at the end of the year. My Packers stink. Dolphins are okay.
We're kind of hit or miss here. It's hard to know what to expect week to week. But
Yeah, but like I don't feel like it's too difficult to check out. I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I'll hit balls like a couple times every month, probably during the winter. Really, really excited. Just perks of working in a college athletic department. Just bought a couple launch monitors for my men's and women's teams. So those should be getting on campus relatively soon. We have the computers. I just put some monitors down there, so we have we'll have a couple launch monitors for our student athletes, ready to go. Just being in Denver, a little bit cold, but like the golf season starts early, right? Like we go to women's teams going to Arizona like 3 times between February and March, right? So like they're working on their game kind of throughout the year. But someone's got to test out that the launch monitor works. So so hopefully find myself down there hitting a couple balls, hit a couple balls with our coaches, just to have a couple people that actually know the golf swing and see kind of where everything's at. So do that a little bit and just every few days, just check the Colorado Golf Association schedule, see if they put out the 2023. And once that goes up,
your name in there,
put your find out your date for the state am and just get put a plan in place to get it done, because I think kind of at the point where this next summer is going to be gearing up for a state am and probably playing a 4-ball. I think that's kind of the reality of just the situation with a newer job and not a ton of PTO and being I just think that's kind of what I'm going to be gearing up for. So excited to kind of see where that falls. Put a plan in place to get that done, and then also just enjoy myself and playing a 4-ball or playing a 2-day or something like that. But all you got to build towards that. You can't just do it a month in advance. It's got to start now, and it starts with recharging batteries and getting ready to do it.
Exactly. You gotta do whatever it takes for yourself to be excited to play golf again come March. Like
Yes.
whatever you gotta do to get your mindset to be like, get me the fuck out there come March when that snow melts and you start seeing the grass. That's what you gotta do. If you're a person that's gotta go hit balls every couple weeks and like kind of grind on your game and try to see some improvement in order to get excited to get back out there. Or if you're somebody that like has to not touch them and just do other stuff for like a maintenance thing and then you're excited to go out, to each their own, whatever you got to do to get jacked up to get out on the golf course come March, April, whatever. That's what you got to do this off season. So exciting stuff. Gotta, hopefully I find my way into maybe one or two more individual tournaments next year. Did a lot of partner stuff this year and did like two individual things. Might have to try a little more individual, maybe, or just maybe a stroke play thing, another one with a partner, but we'll see. Other than that, probably going to run it back with the golf schedule next year, see how it goes, and looking forward to that.
We just got to let's get the dates for the Ramondi or for the Bon Tempo and just get it on the calendar, because still it's like it's an auto 65 when we show up, so gotta put it on the calendar and just make it happen. Was thinking about that the other day. It's like just feels right, regardless of how bad my game is. There's just no way we don't make 8 birdies. It just comes together.
No matter where the game is, you fall back into home when you walk on the Franconia golf course. I mean, it gives you a little room to figure it out there, and we'll be just fine. Yeah, you tell me. I mean, you're the one that's got travel that has to happen for that, so you tell me which one you can make work with work and travel, and I'll make sure I make myself available.
We'll do that, and I'm just all I'm gonna do all off season is think about just like holding that club off on the second tee. Just hit a big, huge cut driver. Just hold it off as hard as you can.
Get the heel
and then just flip a wedge in there to a foot and just get your day going. So looking forward to that. And when I think I don't love golf, or I'm a little bit worn down, I'll just think about that feeling, and I'll come right back.
Franconian veterans make golf fun. That's for sure.
It is. I've played veterans probably like 4 or 5 years, and probably been 4 years, to be perfectly honest.
I'm getting there too. I can't remember. I haven't played in the Ramondi since we did, and we got rained out at Vets, so I can't say the last time I was there either. So, all right,
sir. Good chatting, buddy, and we'll chat again soon. And holidays are coming up, so I'm sure I'll see you in person in the near future as well.
Absolutely, bud. Cheers.
All right, see ya. Cheers.